Hey folks, another episode of Tailgate Talks tonight. Um, Lord have mercy, we got a mess. And I mean a damn good one too. And I know all the people out there in this country that's like me, y'all understand what I'm saying. But there's a shitload of people in this country that don't understand. They have no idea. They don't live. They don't live free. They think they do, but they really don't. All they know is their little studio apartment and the sidewalk down to the store and back. They drive their little smart cars and they don't go anywhere. They drive straight to work and straight home. And they get their bicycles out and they might ride down to the store. And they might go back and they watch some episode on TV and they go to bed and they get up and do it all over again. Well, I'm not built that way. And there's a pile of y'all out there that listen to me that y'all ain't built that way either. You work to live and you make money to be able to do the things you enjoy, like fishing, hunting. You got your boats and your race cars and your deer dogs, and you have a good time. You're not secluded, so to speak. But I've listened and I'm listening to the news, and I don't know why I do, because it pisses me off every time I listen to it. But last night I said I couldn't figure out what Georgia done to Joe Biden that pissed him off so bad. Well, I think I got it figured out. Georgia decided to invoke some voting laws that made it harder to cheat to win an election. And that's what brought Biden down on Georgia. And that's a shame. It's a shame. It goes right back to the needing an ID. Folks, there's very little in this country that you can do without an identification. I mean, honestly, you can't open bank accounts. You can't drive. You can't buy alcohol. You can't go in a bar. The list is never ending, and I don't want to get into I could go on and on and on about what you need an ID for. And how in the hell it could get to the point that we don't need to identify ourselves to vote it's beyond me. It's ridiculous. It's totally absurd. There's no excuse. There's no way you can slice that loaf of bread and there ain't shit in the middle of it. It's almost comical, except that it's so serious it makes me want to squall. It really is. And then you got Biden and his VP, if you want to call her that. She's as pitiful a vice president I've ever seen in my life. But they got this shit going on at the border down there. And hell, I heard today they're talking about finishing building the wall. Well, I think what happened, it's kind of like the fella that's got a waterbed in his house and he's tired of it, and he's trying to drain it with a water hose and it ain't going fast as he wants to, so he gets him a wash tub and he's just going to cut a hole in the waterbed and let it drain in the wash tub. But when he pokes a knife in it, it splits wide open and deluges his whole damn house. Well, that's kind of what I think happened on the border down there, and now they don't know what to do with it. And they can build a border wall now all they want to, but it's too late. The damage is done. There's already thousands and thousands and thousands of immigrants and terrorists and people from all over the world that's coming here. We don't know who's here. There's no way to track them. They don't know what they've let in or nothing else. It's a shame what they let happen down there. And everywhere I go, I frequent a feed store up here by the house, and that's where I get my dog food and my beer and my snuff and everything, that my vices, so to speak. Every time I talk to the man that owns that store, there's a price increase. And the reason is fuel prices. The fuel prices keep climbing, and they keep climbing, and they're going to climb even more. And I've said it, I'm going to say it again. If I'm hauling freight for you and I'm bringing you the things that you need to sustain life, your bread, your milk, your dog food, hell, your food, whatever it is that you eat, your beef that you eat, the cattle companies have to buy grain, it gets hauled to them. And the more fuel goes up, they have to increase their prices. You can't just keep hauling it for the same price if it costs you more to get it there. People work to make money, and if they can't be profitable, they have to raise their prices to be profitable. And unfortunately, us having food and all that kind of thing, that's not something we can just do without. We got to have it. We got to have power. Without power and fuel to bring it, we would cease to exist. I wouldn't, because I know how to grow vegetables and kill game and clean it and eat it. I would be fine. I wouldn't like it. It would be an inconvenience. But there's a ton of people in this country that don't know how to do that. They don't have any idea how to grow something and cook and get it out of the field and clean it and prepare it and cook it and eat it. They just don't know how. But yet they're the ones that screaming the most to do away with the fuel, the fossil fuels, and go all this green shit. And hell, there's some of them think you buy the beef in the store, you didn't have to kill an animal to get it. Well, unfortunately you do. It don't just magically appear on the grocery shelves. There was a dead animal involved in that beef that you're eating, or that chicken, or that hot dog, or hell, anything. I mean, it's ridiculous what people think. It's crazy how people think. All I know is for 4 years we rocked along with Mr. Trump in office. We had no wars. We had no terrorist attacks. Fuel prices was low. The economy was booming. And the Democrats fought him tooth and nail with petty shit. Every time you turned around, they was trying to do something to the man. But yet he excelled, in my opinion, above all of that. And then Joe Biden miraculously gets elected at 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning with millions of votes. More votes than I think any president's ever had. And the man never even had a legitimate rally. Now, y'all think about that for a minute. Honestly, just think about it. I'm not even going to go into that. It makes me want to vomit. But now all of a sudden, that Joe Biden gets elected, they hate that Donald Trump so bad that he immediately goes in and he reverses everything the man done. Well, you know, I got no issue with that to a degree if he evaluated what the man had done and it wasn't a good thing that he done and it wasn't working and he reversed it. That would be fine. But his agenda was to reverse it without any thought. No thought process went into it. He just signed executive order after executive order to do away with what Trump had put in effect. And look what the outcome is. And I don't care if you voted for him, for Joe Biden. I don't really care. And I don't care if you're a liberal idiot. But you have to have enough common sense to realize shit when you step in it. And what we have now is a big old pile of shit we stepped off in. And it ain't gonna get no better. The higher fuel prices go, the higher everything you need will go. He can spout his Green New Deal and his clean energy all he wants to. And that's fine. I don't know that I got a problem with it, really. But you have to slowly phase out what we've got now. and slowly phase in other energy sources. You don't just stop what we're doing and let people starve and rot in hell until you figure out how you're going to implement your Green Deal while everybody's suffering. I'm going to tell you something too. When enough people go to suffering, it's going to get rough, folks. It's going to get rough. There's going to be good people that does bad things. And it ain't going to be your fault that you done bad things. It's because you're going to be at your wit's end. No fault of your own. But just remember, we got midterms coming up. If we can last 2 years, if we can make it, if we can just make it to midterms, and we can elect some decent people, and I'm not talking about, there's some Republicans up there that I wouldn't waste my time. If they was on fire, I wouldn't piss on them and put them out. I really wouldn't. There's several of them. But what we need to do is elect some people in our government that's got our best interest. And I'm beginning to believe those people are common people like us, not Republican, not lifelong government people. They've lost touch with reality. They don't care what we think. They think they know better. They're going to do what they think we ought to be doing. And folks, they work for us. We elect them to do a job. And if you voted for Biden, let's just say this. Let's say you own a company and you elect or you put him in position of CEO of your company. Would you still have him there? I wouldn't. I'd have done fired his ass. And I'd have fired that bitch he's got as his VP too. And I'd have found me somebody else. And if they didn't do the job I wanted, I'd fire them too. And if it went on down the line, to hell with it, I'd do it myself. It's just how it would be. But y'all need to remember, we elected them to fight for us, not to dictate to us what they think's best for us. We elected them to have our best interest and have our back. And until you realize that, and until you start standing up for your rights, we're going down a tube into hell. This is a snowball headed for hell right now. I've lived my whole life in this country, and I've been proud of it. I didn't like Obama when he was in there. I thought he was a shit hook. But I waded through all that. And then we got a decent man up there, and they bashed him and done everything they could to deface his family and him. His family didn't do nothing. They were good people. They wasn't laid up smoking crack, throwing guns in dumpsters, screwing whores and having babies and claiming they didn't remember it. They wasn't doing it. They're classy people. But, oh, God almighty, he wasn't presidential material. What the hell does that even mean? That's horse shit. But until all of you realize that, and we all come together, it's going to be rough. Really, really rough. There ain't no other way to put it. No other way to put it. We all need to think about all this. And like I said, if you voted for Biden, I don't blame you. Maybe you thought things would be different. But I know there's a shitload of y'all that did that's thinking, holy hell, what have I done? Now, and I know you're out there. I know you are. I know you are. That's okay. Everybody will forgive you for that. Just remember that the next time you go to the ballot box. The one thing you got to remember, read through their bullshit. If something's too good to be true, most of the time it is. And for him to spend the money like he's trying to spend and tell you he ain't gonna tax you, it's horse shit, y'all. He may not directly tax you, but he'll tax everybody around you to the point that you can't afford to live. Your power bills will go up, your gas prices will go up, your food will go up, your drinks, everything you do will go up. to absorb the cost of his exorbitant spending. And it don't have to be that way, but it is, and that's what's happening. I'm gonna sign off. Y'all have a good night.